we're trying to question them right now to, you know, get justice for Young Dolph and get the justice for Big Jook, because they know something about Big Jook's killing as well, from what we know from certain people that we question from the streets and certain corners of, you know, the streets in the slums and stuff. And we came to find out some inside information. You know, as we suspected, they were involved in Young Dolph's killing. They didn't want to give us any footage. They said the footage was lost. We were questioning how the footage was lost, and we come to find out that they actually gave the footage to get burned to Black Youngsta, one of Black Youngsta's men that brought it to Black Youngsta, and Black Youngsta shortly burned it after making a video and sending it out to his enemy at the time.
That's part.
Throw them dolphins in the check, throw them dolphins on my hat, throw them dolphins on the back, put a dolphin on my back, leave your shit on 4 flats. We collected tags, 100 racks to get you.
Well, and that's what we came to find out, you know, looking through his music, is that he's been incriminating himself. He's been thinking that he's under the radar and he's on the low, but we have been paying attention to his lyrics. You know, it happened right in the getaway driver's car for Big Jook's murder.
Wait, so you mean to tell me that all this is connected to Young Dolph? Because regardless of what went on, we know for a fact that Big Jook, he sat there and was taunting Young Dolph back to back to back.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's the retaliation portion of it. You know, we found out through, like I was saying, her cellular data, that she had plans, other plans for Big Jook, and after they got rid of Young Dolph, Big Jook was, you know, set up only 18 minutes away from the original site of where Young Dolph was killed at. He was set up during the time where he was eating at one of his favorite restaurants. And, you know, he's just having his normal meal like he always does. And then in the middle of nowhere, gunmen come in. Raven was involved in the location tagging of him. And she was also giving surveillance. She was watching with binoculars from across the street from a certain angle to see exactly what he was doing at every given moment. You know, they gave him a couple minutes to eat. They kind of let him sit around. Raven gave the call to kind of make sure, you know, to throw his mind off of things. It was all a setup to throw his mind, you know, to make him not think or to be aware. You know, they had people line up on the outside in case, you know, the people inside
they tried to like box him off.
Oh, they had him boxed up. You know, they had 2 gunmen that went inside, and then they had 2 gunmen on the outside of the building in case he somehow got out of there, you know, wounded or not wounded. They had
so when Big Jook came outside, they said that he waited in the lobby and he was looking through the doors because he saw the white truck. It went past, then it went around. It went through the parking lot, and then he looking like, why they ain't leaving out the exit? And next thing you know, it went around.
And that's why Raven gave him the call during that time to ease him and throw his mind off of things, to say that was nothing actually, and that, you know, he's okay, she's looking out for him, she's his watch out. But in reality, Raven was actually scheming the whole, you know, masterminding the whole thing. Pretty much telling these drivers, hey, this is where you need to be set up at. He just seen you guys need to be more careful. Don't give away your location. You know, be more aware of your surroundings, because he is aware right now. He's paying attention. I just had to give him the call to kind of reassure him. You know, she had her getaway drivers get lined up in place. She had the gunners get lined up in place. There was pretty much no chance, even if he was to take out maybe 1 or 2 from the inside. You know, there was 2 on the outside, but they also had people coming in, like the getaway drivers, to come pick them up that were ready to gun him down if something happened to the shooters.
Damn, that shit deep. Hey, it cut deep because they said, I want you to elaborate. I know you said something about Black Youngsta cousin getting sent up. Like, what? Tell me more about what happened with Black Youngsta cousin, because this kind of like, it's shocking to see CEO TMZ, Big Jook, Young Dolph, Destolado. Hey, it's so many people involved, literally got caught up in what Govan, Big Jook, and a lot of the rest of them basically put out to play. Because from what Grove Hero said that it was like literally 40K put out on the motherfucking head. And whenever you put money out to do a hit on somebody, everybody know when you're in the streets, you can't go out there. You can't just be doing your everyday activities because people already went out there and did, you feel me? They already said they, you feel me? Everybody already know what's going on behind closed doors.
Well, Raven is the one that got Glorilla involved in everything. She was a common girl. She was, you know, good and everything. She was actually a law-abiding citizen. You know, she started rising up to stardom and fame. You know, she met Yo Gotti, she met Young Dolph, and she met others. And eventually she met Raven. And Raven and her, you know, were kind of buddy-buddy at the beginning. They were talking and stuff. But Raven eventually pitched the idea to her and pretty much, you know, told her, hey, I'm going to tell you what to do. And I'm going to give you a cut of every portion of every job assignment that we got going on with Young Dolph. And the murder of Yo Gotti's brother, Big Jook. You know, the play, the move that they made. And so, into regards to that, Yo Gotti orchestrated everything with Young Dolph, and Young Dolph at the time wasn't aware of this.
As soon as Young Dolph didn't let Yo Gotti get on one of his tracks before he blew up, that Yo Gotti kind of got mad, and Yo Gotti already knew about the baby mama situation. Even Zebo said it. Zach Randolph, everybody knows who Zach Randolph is. He even said, like, Yo Gotti wasn't mad until he wouldn't let him get on the song. So this is like a 5-6 year beef.
Yeah, well, and that's the sad thing about it, you know, in the hip hop community, they just don't let the beef go away. You know, they should let it go away at some point, but it can go on for years and years and years. And these people, they're killing each other from it. They're, you know, they're being deceitful to each other, and they're setting each other up because of these situations and scenarios. You know, Yo Gotti, he shouldn't have did what he did with Young Dolph. Him and Young Dolph, you know, worked together. They were both doing right by their community. They both had visionary ideas at the beginning. And then Yo Gotti kind of strayed from that path and went against Young Dolph. You know, Raven got into the mix of things. She got Glorilla involved into things.
She kind of got like real greedy because she didn't care where she got the money from as long as she was with one of the sides. But it seemed like she really wanted to be with CMG, and she wanted 901 Trigger Trey to get signed so that she can, you feel me?
Well, 901 Trigger Trey was like one of her lovers that she also had a thing with, you know, and it's hard to tell who exactly she loved the most because she was switching from Young Dolph to Yo Gotti to Trigger Trey to Go Band to Straight Drop, and she just was bouncing between, you know, each and every as if it was just like a Russian roulette. And
that's crazy.
You know, she was chasing after the money, like you said. It didn't really matter how the spotlight made her look, as long as she knew she was okay and she knew that she was getting paid. That's all she cared about, which is a terrible thing because Young Dolph trusted her, and that was Young Dolph's downfall during that time when he tried to put his trust and his, you know, loyalty into her. He helped her family out through financial hardships. He helped her out. He helped her out even emotionally when she came to him.
Yeah, that's crazy. When you really look at it, you can really see that, like, MPD, they releasing all the footage of what happened. And I want everybody to know this is a sad situation that we have to see time after time. Senseless violence, the same people, the same situations, different circumstances. Under the criteria of what happened with Young Dolph, it led CEO TMZ to get sent up. Jay Fizzle spoke out and said what he said, walking around with that chopper. Everybody know for a fact you can't put yourself out there, but a lot of people speculate and a lot of guys are saying that PRE did it. PRE ain't do it. They had other ops. Everybody know that Yo Gotti, it was a lot of people who didn't like Yo Gotti. Dude, that light-skinned dude, I forgot his name. I forgot dude's name. What's dude's name? The dude, he didn't like Yo Gotti. He didn't like Big Jook. He felt that Yo Gotti just instantly hopped right in the studio and was just, you feel me, making songs, acting like he'd been in the street when he was rapping about Jook life.
Well, the Makita's Cookie owners, we're trying to question them right now to, you know, get justice for Young Dolph and get the justice for Big Jook because they know something about Big Jook's killing as well from what we know from certain people that we question from the streets and certain corners of, you know, the streets. And the slums and stuff, and we came to find out some inside information. You know, as we suspected, they were involved in Young Dolph's killing. They didn't want to give us any footage. They said the footage was lost. We were questioning how the footage was lost, and we come to find out that they actually gave the footage to get burned to Black Youngsta, one of Black Youngsta's men that brought it to Black Youngsta, and Black Youngsta shortly burned it after making a video and sending it out to his enemy at the time.
That's probably why he went to the gravesite and did a music video.
Fingerprints on both scenes and surveillance footage from the killing of Big Jook. You know, Straight Drop made a call to Govan, and Straight Drop is electronic monitoring, and is on an electronic monitoring device, and they were able to retrieve the audio from the ankle monitor. And the county called from Straight Drop, and Straight Drop mentioned Glorilla in his call. So is Glorilla really the key to CEO Jizzle on the murder attempt charges?
Is she like the key to his, like what happened to him?
Yes.
I feel that Glorilla was playing her role. I feel that Glorilla, the side, she liked it what Young Dolph was doing, but she also liked it what Yo Gotti was doing, because Yo Gotti been like in the game longer than Dolph. He been in the game for a long time. R.I.P. Young Dolph, because regardless of what went on, it's like you can't be in the middle. You can't be on his side then go over there to CMG.
I just think you're gonna switch sides just that easy. Like you're gonna be like, I'm on the Alliance and now I'm going to the Horde or something.
Yeah, you can't do that. Like in the streets, you can't. That's called playing both sides. So to answer to your question, I think if Glorilla speak up, she'll be able to tell everybody what really happened.
Okay. And so my next question to you is, what does Big Jook's death mean for the Cornelius Smith trial for his plea deal?
See, Big Jook, I think they gonna eventually they gonna have to throw something out, because Big Jook, he was a key part in this. He was the one who gave the money to Govan, and Govan basically gave Makita Raven them and everybody else the money. Straight Drop, Cornelius Smith, and whoever else was at the scene. So the answer to your question is, I actually think that they gonna really go out, once they go to court, they gonna speak upon Big Jook's passing, but then they gonna eventually say that, like, this was the key person, like this is the key ideal thing. Like in this whole case, Big Jook, he was right there across the street in the $500,000 truck.
Okay. That's okay. And so on the evidence that, you know, we're talking about with this whole scenario that's going on that came out on the ties to Big Jook directly to make Dash, what do you have to say about that?
See, Damon Dash, he told the whole plot of what's going on. He told that it was a setup. They got down on Young Dolph. He said that they basically, like, they had Yo Gotti to instantly send his boys out there, but he ended up making a mistake by sending his brother out there, and it led to his demise. And it's like, basically, Big Jook, he should have never put himself in this situation. A lot of people think that Big Jook was still smart like he used to be back in the days. This ain't back in the days.
And he was just being sloppy, you think, huh?
Yeah, I think he was being sloppy, because this ain't the 80s. You can't sit at no crime scene and sit right there and look at something happen, knowing that you in tour with him, knowing that you put 40K on a comedian, his friend.
I'm just thinking it's like some Scarface and you can just drive off into
and
the
you can just
sunset
drive off and it'll never come back on you.
Okay. And that makes a lot of sense. I could see that point that you're making about all that too right there. And so my other question to you is on the murder of Yo Gotti's big brother Jook, you know, the play that they made, can you tell me, like, why did you think it was so sloppy, like, into detail on that?
I think it was sloppy because, first off, you got the same people from the same hood Young Dolph be in, in the same car that they all on Instagram with, taking pictures. You can see them in the same car pull up. You think Young Dolph ain't know what that car, who was in that car? Young Dolph knew who the hell was in that car, man. Young Dolph knew exactly who was in that car, man. At the end of the day, we know for a fact that this sad that this had to happen, but when you really look at it, they messed up. It was real messy because you did it at a cookie shop in the hood. Everybody was outside. If you really look at it, they followed him. You think Young Dolph ain't see them following him and he know he into it with all type of people? Come on now.
And there's no way that he couldn't have not had an idea of potentially who was coming after him during the time.
He saw the car kept circling the block. These the same people who he actually was cool with a few of the Double R, AOB, like.
And what's your thoughts on what Raven did? Not to cut you off, but what's your thoughts on how Raven, portrayed him during the phone call, and she tried to soothe him and try to like throw his intentions off, even though he had that gut feeling and he was looking out the window and he was trying to see the driver and see exactly what was going on.
I actually think that Raven, she distracted Young Dolph because she talked to him more than one time that day. She knew he was about to come. She just told him to promote it when he was at the cookie shop the other day, and she gave him them cookies in his hand, and that black truck rolled past. Mm-hmm. Like, it was inevitable. Like, at the end of the day, we know that the way that they get out, you can't backdoor nobody, man. The backdoor needs to stop. You gotta get the bag and move out the hood. Raven, she played a big role in this. The way that she did this, she did it because she wanted the money. She knew Young Dolph was gonna come because she knew how good of a person Young Dolph was. Mm-hmm. If Young Dolph wasn't a person who was reliable and who basically come slide up exactly when he say, knowing that he's famous, come on now, she got him right where she wanted him. She knew she was gonna get paid. This is why the GoFundMe money was spent. I want everybody to pay close attention because the way that they did this, they tweaked.
And if I'm not mistaken, Raven was talking about when she made money with Young Dolph that she was going to put it into donations and she was actually going to donate even to her own family. But what happened with that exactly?
Raven, they kept the money and they got a whole new store and then they fixed the old store up. As soon as they fixed the old store up, it was over with because they started back working there. And they put all type of posters of Young Dolph on the wall like they rocked with him. They already said in the interview, he was just a person from the neighborhood, a friend of the family. He wasn't close to them like this, but then she wanna act like they was that cool and put a mural of him inside of the store. Come on now, I call it all fake. All that's fake. Raven them know what happened.
It was part of the deceit she was trying to put on for the propaganda. It was like mostly to, try to convince like the people that she was in the right, but she was actually doing shady shit behind the scenes, right?
Yeah, she knew what the went on up in that cookie shop. She know what her daddy told her, cause that brief ass story that they gave is so, you can't really grab no real ideas out of that. They kept it short and brief for a reason.
I see, and that's to throw the people off. I see, okay. So my question to you now is, so Yo Gotti's brother, Big Jook, he couldn't keep a secret, and Young Dolph was lured to the cookie shop.
Once Raven went out there, she knew that this was gonna lead back to her one day, one way or another. They shouldn't have never did it. This is why Charleston White spoke out and said that everybody who in that circle, they going down, they gonna go to jail eventually, because we know for a fact, allegedly, that Raven, she was the main one who went out there. And basically, she told them that her daddy was right there. He pulled this car up. He even changed his clothes. Anybody who go to that extent to try to change their clothes at a crime scene, it all goes back to show that you had something to do with the setup. Not to mention,
throw them dolphins in the check, throw them dolphins on my hat, throw them dolphins on the brat, put a dolphin on my back, leave your shit on full flesh. We collected
the fact that they went out there and they said that Maurice Hill and them was cleaning up the crime scene. They was cleaning up the glass that was broken out of the window that Young Dolph's arm was laying out of. And they even went out there and started mopping outside because it was still blood outside. Who got hit? Ain't nobody saying that. Nobody's saying if they shot back or not. This is what's making everybody think that Young Dolph's brother had something to do with it. Will Young Dolph's brother go to the extent of setting his own family up for whatever reason? Not to mention the fact that Yo Gotti, he went out there and basically went to the concert and basically did the song that was basically a straight diss to Young Dolph. Everybody know for a fact that Memphis ain't liking that. Memphis ain't rocking with Yo Gotti now right now. And regardless of how Big Boogie them feel, this is something that's gonna lead CMG to getting themselves into a bind to the point where they can't even come to Memphis after a while. Key Glock and them not finna play no games. They know what happened with Young Dolph. They should have never did that to Young Dolph. Young Dolph was a person who helped anybody. He was rocking with CMG once upon a time until he found out how Starlito got treated. He not finna instantly see how Starlito got treated, and then next thing you know, he go out there and sign to Yo Gotti. It wasn't gonna happen, no way, no day and time. Yo Gotti got mad because Young Dolph started hitting his baby mama, and Young Dolph wouldn't give him that song. If Young Dolph would have gave him that song, do you think that he would have instantly been, you feel me, still here to this day? Because Yo Gotti kind of got in his feelings, and this ain't the time for that. Regardless of what happened, man, Yo Gotti knew for a fact that Moneybagg Yo, that Bentley, ain't no way that Ari got the same color Bentley that Big Jook was sitting in front of. You feel me? The cookie shop when all this went down. This is what make me feel that it was a lot of people who played a role in this. This is what really make me feel that way. And I want y'all to really pay close attention because this is something that it will lead CMG to getting in a situation to the point where everybody in their camp go down. They already raided Moneybagg Yo. They already raided Black Youngster. What's next? He sat there, he helped the whole hood. That's something that a lot of people don't do. That's something that Yo Gotti really didn't go to his own hood and help nobody. And I want everybody to really pay close attention to the key facts in this because this is something that could really lead this whole case to spiral down and to basically point and connecting Yo Gotti and CMG. Everybody know that CMG, the way that they moved, the way that they did this, it led back to Makita's being investigated. As soon as Makita's even looked at the fact that the feds came in under suspicion that they had something to do with what happened with Young Dolph. And RP Young Dolph and RP Big Jook, because we know for a fact that this is something that nobody want to go through. We know that this is all street beef. And when you're in the streets, and a lot of people fail to realize it, you have to go by a certain code. And when you sit there and you think that thing's sweet, it happened to you. I want everybody to really pay close attention to that because the way that they looked at this whole case, they looked at it as if it was a setup. Big Jook was right across the street. Raven act like she didn't know what went on when we all know for a fact that Raven was the main one who played a key role in this. As soon as they question Raven, is they gonna get down to the bottom of the whole case? Everybody know that the way that OG Bang Wang fell back from 901 Trigger Trade, this is something that led everybody to thinking that. Even CJ Davis said that Govan had something to do with it. So if somebody had like that saying that, we know for a fact that Black Youngster, Yo Gotti, Big Jook, Govan, Straight Drop, Cornelius Smith, all of them had a role in this. Makita and them, they was paid the money. As soon as they was paid the money, everybody knew for a fact that everybody knew the money came from Yo Gotti. It's nothing else nobody could really point fingers to or at. We know that this is a revolving door. The way that they did this, they was moving sloppy. This is what led everybody to really thinking that Makita Raven them was the main ones who played a big role in this. You can't go out here in these streets and really put your life on the line for certain people. Black Youngster did. He went out there. He knew for a fact, he knew who did that to Big Jook. He ain't tell Yo Gotti. He's still trying to keep a street code when we know for a fact that this is a case that it's gonna eventually emerge all type of details that got something to do with Young Dolph. People don't want to find out that. People don't want to get to the bottom of Young Dolph's case, and that's the bottom line of it. It's a lot of people who sat back and thought that this was gonna eventually just fade away and they was gonna stop talking about Young Dolph. No, Young Dolph, he played a big role in why Memphis, like a lot of people sticking together in Memphis. And if you from Memphis, I want you to drop them Memphis down in the comment section. Let me know where y'all from. Let me know if you a fan of Young Dolph. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel regardless of what's going on. I want y'all to really pay close attention because the feds ain't finna play no games. Angela Simmons, Glorilla, everybody on the other side, man. Everybody who over there with Big Boogie and ETSG and everybody else. Y'all know for a fact that Moneybagg Yo was the last one that talked to Big Jook. Why ain't nobody come forth and say nothing about that? And this is what's really getting to all Young Dolph fans and the people who really knew Big Jook, because the way that Big Jook was moving in the streets, he was a kingpin at one point. We know for a fact that the way that they did him like that because as soon as his ass went out there, he knew for a fact that they was looking for him. They've been looking for Big Jook for the longest. And we know that the way you did Young Dolph, karma was gonna come back around eventually, regardless of how he wanted it, like regardless of the way or circumstance that it played out. It was a game that Young Dolph didn't know that he was getting himself into. And a lot of people said that Yo Gotti supposedly, he set his own brother up. I feel personally that Yo Gotti, he's on a run from the feds. He know that it's gonna eventually catch up with him. Everybody who's in his circle, they may be charged with potentially accessory, knowledge of a crime that hasn't been solved yet. We know that this is something that goes on in the hood all the time. You have to dot your I's and cross your T's regardless of where you go in the city. Yo Gotti knew for a fact that Black Youngster, he had something to do with this because Black Youngster was cool with Straight Drop, Cornelius Smith, Govan. And Govan was the main one who was let out on house arrest when we know for a fact that he's been charged in masterminding a murder. Regardless of what happened with Big Jook, RIP Young Dolph, because the way that they did it, they shouldn't have never let Govan out. And MPD, they said that Govan, okay, he can get out on house arrest, but nobody else. Why would you let a mastermind of a whole crime that he orchestrated out? Everybody sit back and really pay close attention. I want y'all to know one thing. Did Glorilla put herself in a situation to the point where pictures and evidence start coming out as if Glorilla was right there with Young Dolph and then she was instantly went over there and signed to Big Jook now? Because you gotta understand, Big Jook, he was the one running CMG. Yo Gotti was the artist. Big Jook was the one who had the money before Yo Gotti even really blew up. We know that this is a sad situation, but it happened time to time. And a lot of people put themselves in these predicaments. The feds don't play no games. They have a 99% conviction rate and they don't come until it's something major. They sit back and watch you, just like they've been watching Yo Gotti. The way that CMG been moving in the city. When they moved out of the city and Black Youngster, Govan, and everybody started to getting shook up by this whole situation, that's when you knew for a fact they know something that don't nobody else know. And everybody know that once they move in on you, it's over with. I want to know if the feds looking at Yo Gotti and them like, okay, they tied to this, their name is presented in these statements. Because best believe the witness told everybody who was out there that this is something that was connected to CMG. As soon as that happened to Young Dolph, regardless of how they set it up, Makita Raven them, they had people waiting at the back door. Raven, she tried to keep her mouth shut, but after she got that 250,000, that's when she instantly started trying to be the spokesman for what happened with Young Dolph. If you weren't at the scene, why is you even right there making yourself a liability to the whole case? You knew for a fact that Young Dolph, he was the main one. He went in there with his brother, and that's what made everybody speculate and say, the feds ain't gonna really look into Big Jook stuff like that, but they will look into what happened with Young Dolph. Young Dolph, he was giving Big Jook money once upon a time. He was looking out for Big Jook. Nobody really paid attention to that. What a lot of people didn't know is Black Youngster, he went and visited Straight Drop. This what led to everybody even speculating to thinking that they had something to do with Young Dolph getting sent up. I want everybody to know one thing. It can't be kept a secret for a long time. RP Young Dolph, because we know for a fact Young Dolph did one thing that he was highly respected upon,